Good evening. Welcome to the Diablo 3 podcast. We are online at diablo8gamers.com. It is March 1st. It is Sunday night. The PTR has been up for a week, and we've all been playing and having some fun and testing out the new sets and stuff. We're going to talk about lots of new sets and some other changes on the PTR and stuff that's coming in Season 3 because we're already done with Season 2, or at least Xanth says he is. And speaking of Xanth, he is joining me on the show tonight.
Hoy hoy.
Along with, what are you calling you, Tyr?
That's right.
And you are a newish guest. You've only been on one podcast thus far, I believe.
That's right.
And so why don't you start us off there, Tyr, since you're already talking. What have you been testing on the PTR, and have you enjoyed the 3.5-hour game creation times?
Yeah, I definitely have. I've been testing a Barb. So I did jump in, do a little bit of Wizard, but I wasn't able to complete the slow time set, so sadly I didn't get a chance to really get in and dive deep on those. I did get a chance actually to try all three of the current Barbarian sets, and those are looking really interesting.
Blizzard posted that focused feedback thing, and they said the new Barb set wasn't really ready yet. They weren't including it in that. Is it available on the PTR? Have you tried it out?
It is on the PTR. You can test it out. I guess
is it like wildly unbalanced or what?
Sadly, no. I think it's actually undertuned at the moment, but I don't think that's an issue of damage numbers or anything like that. It's actually probably just play style. The thing that everybody loved about Raekor is it was just so goddamn mobile. You were moving all the time. And this is speedy but less speedy. So actually, I'm a little worried it won't see any use.
I didn't think it was that great at BlizzCon. I haven't tried it on the PTR, but just the basic sense is it's got big bonuses to Whirlwind and to Rend.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of whirlwind around, and you stop and do a rend every now and then to kind of dot stuff up, and then you whirlwind again. And it's sort of a weird stop-start thing. I didn't think it really synergized. The two skills I didn't think worked together that well.
The strange thing is I actually liked the play style, and I thought that they managed to weave those two okay in with each other. The nice thing about both rend and charge is that you can cast those basically without interrupting while interrupting the animation for Whirlwind, so you can just continually Whirlwind and then cast a Rend, whatever you need to. So I think that worked out okay. The only issue is I feel like it doesn't move as quickly, like I said, as Raekor's, where you're just moving.
What does move as quickly as Raekor's?
Very little. Demon Hunters, maybe?
You have this set where you just sort of exist as a dashing dot of light.
Exactly, yeah. It is fun to play,
you come to the Guardian, in which case you stand still for 15 minutes and weep.
Yeah, exactly. The nice thing about it, and in fact, that's I was going to address that. Raekor's was terrible single target, and this Rend Whirlwind mix, I think, actually is really nice for single target. It has a nice balance between AoE damage and single target damage. I was finding that I was just melting the face straight off most of the Rift Guardians that I was fighting. But again, I wasn't getting from high density pack to high density pack very quickly.
Okay, we'll go more on the Barb in a minute. Let's get to Xanth here and what he's been up to testing on the PTR. And you read a couple of columns this week on the podcast, on the website. And one of them, I believe you said you were done with Season 2 because Season 3 was awesome. Do you still hold to that?
Yeah, I accidentally logged in to my regular character this morning and then quickly jumped back on to the PTR. It's been much more engaging, and it's kind of, with the amazing drop rate that you do have, it's just fun to be able to put these sets together quickly and start testing them out. I mean, it's obviously not going to be as fast when you get into the regular version, but it's just fun to play and to kind of experiment a little bit. And where I've been doing most of my experimenting has been with the Wizard. It saw some nice changes with basically all of their sets plus the new one, and I was really engaged with the description of the slow time set, and I really wanted to love it. I really wanted to, after hearing all these great reports, I really wanted to be able to go in there and toss off these bubbles and just really play like a wizard should be. And sadly, after finally putting it together, and even with a 2,000% drop rate, it took me a solid week before I even got all the pieces that I needed. It's just disappointing. But what I have found is the Tel Rasha set, which has been reworked, is actually pretty fun. It seems to play kind of the way I imagined a wizard should. And that's been kind of taking up my time now, has been trying to figure out ways to really maximize that set as opposed to the set that really drew me into the whole PTR build which was the slow time set.
How about the other new Wizard set? Have they been anything interesting to that one? The Firebird's been changed around a little bit. Have you tried that?
So they switched around a little bit. The 6-piece is still the same, where you're burning and kind of running. It does add in an explosion mechanic on the 4-piece, which is it's nice. It's not like groundbreaking or anything like that. It kind of spices the build up, so you're not just.
I think the Barb set is the groundbreaking one. But
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that changes the gameplay very much. Is that the issue? You think?
No, not at all. I mean, it's still just burn and run, but in like the lower level torments, you can blow things up a little bit faster instead of waiting for them to kind of just burn to death.
But that isn't everything at high greater rift levels burn and run.
Relatively, yeah. But I mean, I guess I don't know. I was hoping they would maybe do something a little different with Firebirds to maximize on it, but it seems like that's the playstyle that they want with that, and let the other two builds or the other two sets kind of cover the other Wizard styles.
Well, I guess you have the speedy movement, the burn and run, the DOT stuff on Firebirds, and they don't want to totally change the way that works. So the other ones, in theory, the new one was supposed to be. I don't really know how the Talrash's set is supposed to be played now. You can give us some details on that, but the new, what is it, Delcere's Magnum Opus, something like that?
Yeah.
As everyone was calling it, the slow time set, which enables you to drop lots of slow time bubbles because you have a cooldown reduction when you use other skills, and then you bomb stuff on them, and most of your big spenders are 500% damage increase when things are in the bubbles, basically.
Yeah.
So it's much more of drop bubbles and then bomb stuff on them while they're basically motionless.
Right.
It's obviously very sort of the exact opposite of the Firebirds, just run and watch things burn behind you.
Right. And there are some other items that are not a part of the set that you can get to maximize it. Like I got the helm that gives you all the runes for slow time, and then the wand which decreases your casting of slow time. Mine was at 59%. I don't know exactly how high it actually goes. So I had everything working perfectly in terms of synergy, and I don't know, the play just doesn't seem as effective. If you look at the 4-piece, it's 1250 weapon damage every second for every bubble cast. And that's okay damage, but I guess compared to all the other classes that are around, it still seems really slow. And like the set bonus is just 500% more damage from Arcane Orb, Energy Twister, Magic Missile, and Shock Pulse. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's all clicking the way it really could. Like Arcane Orb, Energy Twister, and you can add in the bracers that will, have the Energy Twisters suck things together, but it just seems like you're putting together a lot of pieces for something that's still not nearly as effective as, every other class right now.
Other than that, it's pretty good, though, right?
No, I mean, like, visually, aesthetically, it's a pleasing set. It's still very fun, but coming from Firebirds, which was, a little droll in the play style, but was effective, it's hard to slow down and be less effective.
Yeah, I was a little worried when I got a first look at it, and I haven't had a chance to play with the full set, but I did tinker with it a little bit. It looks like the issue is that it's just it requires you to play too perfect. I mean, greater rifts, especially at the high level, are all about, rushing. You leave mobs behind in your wake that haven't died. You're just trying to get to high density and burned out as much as you can. And that thing, if you're trying to get everything in a bubble, it just doesn't give you the opportunity to kind of kill and run the way that Firebirds does.
Of course, Firebirds is notoriously horrible in party games.
Yeah,
because it's great for by yourself, but it sucks to play with anybody else. Maybe this is the option for wizards who don't like other people, which is pretty much all of them.
Right. I think
the new one's more of a party thing where you can obviously you're debuffing everything for everyone, so they're all just sort of helpless, and everyone gets to nuke them together.
Right. That would be the one.
So if you had friends, would you like the new set, Xanth?
What?
If you had friends, would you like the new set?
That would be the caveat to my critique is being on the PTR. I'm not jumping into games with other people. So I haven't.
I've had exactly the opposite experience. The 3.5-hour queues, I haven't played alone yet on the PTR.
See, now, are you playing hardcore Flux?
I was playing softcore on it, actually.
See,
My leftover PTR characters.
I transferred over all my characters from hardcore, and my wait times have been at most 5 minutes.
Oh, lucky you. I gotta try some hardcore ones then. I had my characters left over from Season 2 testing on the PTR, and I had like Paragon 580 or something in softcore that I'd made. And so I just kept using those. Because I already had tons of gear, as opposed to copying over my existing Season 2 account, which has no softcore characters on it, because I figured it's easier to copy over. And I've had the absolutely horrible, machine lag. I mean, many people have had that, but I mean, when it's okay solo. I'm getting 10 or 15 frames per second usually in a big mob, as opposed to 60 on the live server. But when I get in big groups, it's just slow motion. I mean, I'm just literally like 1 frame every 3 seconds.
Huh.
Yeah,
So
I've
it makes
noticed
it hard
that too.
to test anything specific.
I mean, I've got a nice rig, but I'm getting some definite slowdown for some reason on the PTR that is not at all there on live.
There's been lots of blue posts about that, so hopefully they're working on it. No one knows if it's that they have that new file system instead of MPQs, the CBGB or whatever it's called.
Is it CPAC
Cask.
or something like that?
I don't know, whatever.
Cask,
But yeah,
yeah.
people are wondering if it's that or if it's just not optimized yet or what's going on. But yeah, I've been one of many people who has been greatly impacted by the machine.
Yeah,
performance.
and they had to remove that whole new legendary, what was it? Ashbringer.
Corrupted Ashbringer, yeah.
Specifically for that reason.
I did manage to get it on my monk. I think shortly before they disabled it. It's a fun looking item, I can say that.
Yeah, I've heard it's really overpowered as well, but I haven't actually gotten one to drop.
Yeah, people like one-shotting like GR30, 35 Guardians with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is maybe a little overpowered, but who am I to say? So you did the Barb sets some. You did the existing Barb sets there, Tier.
Yeah, that's right.
Changes to IK or the other sets going on?
Yeah, there are a couple different changes. The interesting thing I think for the Barb sets is I think we're going to see Immortal Kings come back. It has gotten some pretty nice buffs and the ability to really substantially improve your uptime on Berserker, or what is it? I can't remember the name of the stupid ability. You turn big, go Super Saiyan.
Wrath of the Berserker.
Wrath of the Berserker, that's it. I mean, you're basically permanently under Wrath when you're running that thing.
Which was, of course, the whole system in D3 Vanilla with the spin to win barbs.
Exactly.
And they fixed it all so they couldn't do that anymore. Now it's back.
Yeah, and people have been trying to do it forever, ever since they've nerfed it back. So, but yeah, it's pretty huge damage. And the Call of the Ancients, those guys are putting out some really nice numbers right now. I do think it's going to synergize pretty well too. They've got that new set of pants now for Barbs that gives your Wrath every rune, which may as well be a T6 bonus, but it's just on one legendary item, and it's just crazy to see the amount of damage you can kick out.
So you've been using those. I mean, it makes you happy. How does it compare to current Barb build? You said you still like Raekor's. Raekor's is also sort of a terrible multiplayer build.
Yeah, it's not a good multiplayer build, but it is extraordinarily effective, and the playstyle is still fun to play. I like my Raekor Barb, so it's definitely enjoyable. But I think that those pants are going to make a big splash. We'll probably see people change up their sets. We may even see Wrath being used in ways that it hasn't been used before, just because those pants are so powerful.
Any questions, Xanth? Have you done any Barb lately? Does this excite you to try the class, or is it still big and smelly?
I was interested in it when I first saw like the preview after BlizzCon of the new items and everything, and I don't know. I guess it still hasn't been enough to suck me into playing a Barbarian yet. Like the Barbarian and the Demon Hunter, I think are the two classes that I've kind of pushed aside and just kind of maybe I'm just waiting for the right time. I waited a long time to really even delve into a wizard. Maybe the Barbarian will be patch 2.5 for me at this point.
Well, he's got the death shooting passive coming up, so...
Yeah, I did see that. I thought that was kind of interesting that, it's made its way to just about every class now.
It's a bit of a bizarre choice the way they implemented it, though. I think it gives you back 15% health, but 95% damage reduction. So I don't know what their intent is there. If it's just to give hardcore players a heart attack, maybe that's it. Because it does give you great DR, and I'm sure 15% life. You live as long as you have that 95% on you for I think it's 5 seconds. But man, it's weird that they pop you so low. Most of the other classes get shot back up to 45 or something higher.
Well, better than the current worst version, which is nothing.
Yeah.
Which is 0% health.
I thought that was interesting that the Barbarian has it now too. I think it's only a matter of time before a Demon Hunter will get it too.
Demon Hunters have it now. Thanks for keeping up with the current changes.
What? When did that happen?
The last patch.
Yeah,
I've procced it about 50 times this season too. So
weren't Barb's the last one to get it? I think
Barb's the only ones that don't have it now. Yeah.
It just shows how little I play Demon Hunter. I think I have 19 hours on one.
Yeah, no revenge for you.
No.
It was funny because the last podcast we did Sunday night, and Bugs was on there and did a whole rant about how terrible near-death experience is, which is the monk version of the death cheating passive, and how it only restores you to like to 30%, and there's no time delay, so you can easily just you can die in the same Bolton before you even know it's procced. And of course, literally the next day, the patch notes went up, and it was like, hey, totally improved near-death experience. So we need to make some advocacy points tonight so that Wyatt can furiously code them in there and get them in the patch build for going up tomorrow morning. So what would you really like to see fixed in the game tomorrow? Before you had some objections to the to Tal set, Xanth. What needs to be fixed and made better of that, and how has it changed from the current version? And speak slowly and clearly so Wyatt can understand everything you say.
I do like the Tal set. I think it's kind of interesting because it really plays on the multiple elements that a wizard can use. So basically, in its current iteration, meteors are dropping down based on the element of the spell that you've cast. So every 8 seconds after, if I cast a lightning spell, there'll be a lightning, meteor that will drop. Then I cast a fire, then it'll be a fire meteor. And you can kind of come up with a rotation. So you're combining your normal spells, but also thinking of the meteors that are going to be dropping. This works in tandem with the 6-piece, which is increasing damage based off of your elements. So every time you kind of cycle through, you're getting a damage increase. But in the current iteration for Tals, it's only 3 seconds for that, that little buff to kind of go through. If that buff was just a little bit longer, maybe 5, maybe 6 seconds, it would make the rotation a little bit easier, and you would have a set that's really, really humming. Right now, the 3-second version, it's just too quick for you to, especially with the lag, for you to get a rotation going and to really make it work. But right now, the Tal set feels very wizardy, where you're thinking about what elements do you want, and then getting these meteors to really rain from the sky. And when you combine it with the meteor boots too, it's just awesome.
The meteor comes down 8 seconds later. Do you get to retarget that? 'Cause it seems like you would have moved on after 8 seconds.
So I cast a lightning spell, then a meteor is coming down at the same time. Then it's 8 seconds until another one would be coming down.
For that element, though, right?
Yeah, for that element. So you can cycle through lightning, there's a meteor. 8 seconds later, when I cast a lightning spell, there'll be another one.
And could you synergize this with the synchronize it? I guess with the BlizzCon Elemental Ring. I guess that'll be ideal, but I think the times are different on those.
Yeah, I haven't played with the Elemental Ring yet. It's in my stash for my kind of to-do list. I do believe it should work though.
But I'm also getting the same. If it's one cycling at 6 seconds and one at 8 seconds, obviously it's not going to work out. It's going to be like when you try to buy hot dogs and hot dog buns, and they're always in different amounts. You got to go for like a lowest common denominator of like 47 or something, and it never works.
6 and 8.
You need a bigger beach party to ever get it all to work out. Yeah, so it probably wouldn't be so great.
Right, but I can definitely say it is a fun set. It was one of those sets that I was on the fence about because I just had the Tal Rasha set was so useless for a long time that every time I was getting a piece on the PTR, I didn't even look at the new bonus because I just kind of assumed it was still garbage. And then as I was still trying to put together the slow time set, I just kept getting more Tals. I'm like, well, I may as well just try it out, and I've actually ended up really liking it.
They added an item to it, right? I think it's gloves or something.
What did they add?
Because it was just 5 pieces, and now it's 6 pieces.
Yeah, they do have 6. I can't think of what the 6th one is because there's chest, legs, the sword.
Amulet, source, and wand before, right?
Yeah. No, not a wand.
There was a belt in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a belt and an amulet. It must be the pants then. Pants. Well,
Yeah, there's no pants on live at the moment.
yeah, so it'd be the pants.
Well, wizards don't really wear pants according to their new set version.
Yeah, no.
I like the new Delceray's version. It's like the bikini armor thing going on. It's like finally we've got bikini armor in Diablo 3,
It
and
doesn't.
not just for Irina.
It doesn't offer much for protection.
Well, if you get shot right in the crotch, it's great. Otherwise, you're not kind of out of luck. But kind of like Spring Break. So, other stuff you guys noticed on the PTR? And, I guess we've got that's kind of enough for the for a first look at the sets that are changing. I've played all the Demon Hunter stuff extensively, but I'll save that for later. But since Dan doesn't play Demon Hunters, we don't want to trouble his beautiful mind with that dirty class, the range class.
Yeah.
Have you guys tried out the new bounties? We have those Explore bounties and save the Iron Wolf Guards bounties and save the Angels and Act 4 bounties and stuff. Does that make any difference in the gameplay, or just sort of another bounty that you'll never do?
I actually did one. Sorry, I actually did one and didn't realize it was new. I thought it was the same thing.
I have not touched bounties, especially on the PTR. I know they're new, but I don't know. The whole bounty system, aside from like getting rift keys and then getting your Ring of Royal Grandeur, like what other reason do I have? When you're leveling up 1 to 70, that's the main way I level. So I feel like I got my fill, and once you hit 70, you have enough keys to kind of not go back. So that there needs to be a better enticement to.
Well, if they give you more than 2 blood shards, it might be worth doing them.
Yeah.
Rewards.
If there was some semblance of balance between if I should do a rift or a greater rift versus a bounty, yeah, that might be maybe something to sway me. But at the moment, no, bounties they're just not appealing.
Have you done any bounties, Tier, or if not that, have you noticed? Obviously, there's some new tile sets in Nephilim Rifts, and also they're generally much smaller, in my experience.
Yeah, I have done. I did a couple of the bounties. Like I said, I wasn't impressed by any of them. I mean, it's good that they add variety to the game. It just keeps things feeling a little bit more fresh. But I mean, they're the same thing. The Diablo is a limited type of game. You can't do a heck of a lot with it aside from kill hordes of monsters. So really, when they try to mix it up and do something different, it's not all that impressive, I think. But it's fine. Like I said, that it's good to have just a little variety when you're doing stuff and see something new. The rift layouts I did think were a pretty decent improvement. I found much fewer, built-in rings or loops that were of, a giant size that were really slowing me down. So those were good. Definitely liked that.
Have you gotten the Festering Woods in one? I got one and it was gigantic and fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
I did not. No, that did look like a lot of fun though.
So it's like 10 times the size of the Festering Woods. I mean, there's so many elements. You get that one little part where there's sort of a little arching bridge where you always have the one event there. Mm-hmm. You kind of walk over a ridge and you click on the little altar at the top, and then the guy spawns and stuff. Whatever it is, Revenge of the Ancients or something. You get that like 7 times in the area because there's not that many elements to the tile set. So you just keep running along. Hey, here's that thing again. Oh, here's that thing again. But generally, it was huge, and it was really it looked like kind of a big piece of Swiss cheese on the overall map. We had lots of little gaps in it with that central well where the ghosts come flying up out of. You get that about 4 different times too. So it's sort of the same thing repeating over and over again. But it was nice to see something that looked new.
Yeah. And
I also got the Act 2 surface area, the Black Desert Mines or whatever it's called. I got that one a couple of times, and it's a nice randomization of that. Just to see something you haven't seen 5,000 times in a Rift already.
Yeah, but that won't last long. That novelty.
Well, it'll be old hat soon enough. But it was fun the first time I saw it. And of course, there's 4,000 legendary items laying around.
I still have yet to get the Cow Rift, and
yeah, no one cares about that. I haven't gotten that either. But
that's
why they took out the achievements. Who cares, right?
I just feel like in the amount of rifts I've done, it would show up eventually. Like, what is the percentage on this thing?
Eventually. Yeah, pretty low apparently. I've never seen it. I have no idea how many thousands of rifts I've done, but it hasn't been one of them.
You look at your profile, and it'll actually tell you the amount that you've done. And I'm in the thousands. I feel like there had to have been a chance at some point.
Well, you're going to keep milking it until you get it someday, though.
Hi-yo.
Heyo. So, Since we mentioned the Ring of Royal Grandeur earlier, I did a post on that last night after a blue post about it, and it's got like 60 replies already. So obviously, people have a lot of suggestions of how to fix the Ring of Royal Grandeur. First of all, where do you guys stand on the RoRG versus RoRG?
I guess I've always called it the Ring of Royal Grandeur, but I don't know. I don't mind RoRG.
Yeah, I'm going with RoRG. Makes you sound like you're being an angry, aggressive barbarian, which I play one of, so, it works.
In fact, you are.
Yeah.
Full of steak and eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So the Blizzard guy said they're considering making the RoRG. I'm sorry, the RoRG. I guess I'll go with RoRG. It sounds like I live in Oregon. It's like I'm saying where I live. RoRG. So they said they might make it drop from other caches, or they might make it drop from the bonus caches. There's two acts each game where they're bonus blood charge, which no one cares about because the rewards are so tiny it's not worth bothering with for a bonus. But if the bonus dropped to Ring of Royal Grandeur, might be fun. And I posted a vote with that news item, so you guys can say yes or no to these options, as many as you like yeses or nos. RORGs could drop from all act caches.
Nope.
Yeah.
RORGs could drop from Act 1 plus the double reward act caches.
I guess.
Sure.
RoRG added to global ring drop tables like other legendary rings.
Sure.
Yeah.
That one's actually not getting. That's only at 19%. You guys like that, no one else does. Enable the Ring of Royal Grandeur bonus item via some... Oh, so you just turn on the bonus via an achievement. Be like adding another passive skill or something like that. You just get it automatically once you do some game achievement. It's not actually tied to an item.
Nah.
Yeah. No.
Enable Ring of Royal Grandeur bonus as a passive skill. Literally every class has this as one of their passives.
Nah.
No.
The funny thing there is if you got a Hellfire Amulet, you could actually get a Hellfire Amulet Ring of Royal Grandeur, so we don't want to go there. Create new items that have the same bonus in the slot. So possibly there's a belt and a bracers or something like that that also give you the same bonus.
That'll do.
I'm okay with
A little
that.
more gear options there. That's the leading. That's the top vote getter at this point. So
Is there? What about making it a gem that you could?
not an option. Therefore, it doesn't exist.
Well, it's an option now.
You want a legendary gem for that one?
Why not?
Well, how does it improve with levels? What gets better about it?
Let's.
Or is that the level? That's the level 25 affix to some crappy gem, like invigorating gemstone or something.
There you go.
You have to use the worst gemstone no one likes just to get the RoRG bonus at 25.
Is there an option to just remove it from the game? Because that's probably the best thing for it at this point.
The funny thing, I realized after I posted this vote, I didn't have an option to say change nothing, leave it as it is. And there's 50 comments, and no one has yet pointed that out. So obviously, no one wants it to stay as it is. But
it's boring.
So
you need it on everything.
So kind of one of the issues about it, some people have said there should be something like a Gift of Ramalandi. You could just click it on a ring, and it would give you the Ring of Royal Grandeur bonus on any item you chose, any ring at least. Which certainly would be convenient, but I think that's kind of... I mean, obviously power creep is an issue, but kind of the thing with the Ring of Royal Grandeur is because it has 3 preset affixes, you're giving up quality on your ring, as opposed to, some CCCD socket, whatever other stat on your ring. You're not getting all those things on the Ring of Royal Grandeur. You're getting main stat and IAS and life per hit. I mean, if Ring of Royal Grandeurs, I think if they had 4 random affixes, like a lot of items do, it would either be too good or useless.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would just keep running Act 1 eternally until you finally got a trifecta or a quadfecta, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't like that idea, because that just makes it more difficult to get one that's actually viable to use.
And there's no trade-offs. If you eventually get one, I mean, currently I'm looking at that, I'm using, instead of using an SOJ or something like that, and I'm giving up, 10 or 15% damage by using the Ring of Royal Grandeur to get this other bonus, which is kind of, I'm sure what some Blizzard person would say is that's the whole point, it's a trade-off. You want this really powerful legendary affix, and you give up a little bit of DPS to get it. And if you get them both at once, it's great short-term, but it seems like that kind of cheats the item game of some complexity.
Yeah, the Ring of Royal Grandeur, frankly, is one of the few things that makes me angry at Blizzard about D3. I'm usually a Blizzard apologist. I like what they do, but I mean,
so you just don't want it at all? You want it gone?
Yeah, I think it's busted. It was busted from the start, and it doesn't have a place in the game. It should be gone. I mean, if
the complaint is 6-piece sets are totally locked into all your items.
Exactly.
So Ring of Royal Grandeur, at least you have one piece that's open to options.
Exactly, and what that tells me is that the set bonuses are busted. I mean, what if you just dropped a 6-piece down to a 5-piece?
Then you'd be an IK Barbarian.
Isn't that more of a systemic problem that the RoRG lets you get around? I mean, I don't feel like we should have to be locked into using a particular item to fix a design issue that Blizzard came up with way back when. I think
you have to use it. You can use a 6-piece set, but then you're losing some flexibility.
Exactly. Yeah. So
why is he wrong, Xanth?
I don't think he is. And I wish I could provide a dissenting opinion, but I think whenever you have an item that feels 100% mandatory just to be effective, I can't think of a single character I've made that didn't have one or didn't farm for one until they got one and then proceeded to be able to do what I wanted them actually being able to do. That's the only reason I've ran as many bounties as I did. Was for a Ring of Royal Grandeur, or RoRG, as we're now calling it. It does feel needed, and if it was dropped down to 5 pieces, I think that would be an effective compromise, but you would also have to eliminate it from the game, because then people would just want the Ring of Royal Grandeur and then making it down to a 4-piece.
What if there was an item that had nothing on it except for a +2 Ring of Royal Grandeur? I mean, literally had no bonuses. It's +1 vitality or something, but it maybe gives you a double bonus, so you can get 6-piece sets with just 4 pieces now. Can you imagine that being used? I mean, you're obviously giving up an entire item slot for 0, but then again, it's kind of saving you an item slot elsewhere.
I mean, I don't know if I could crunch the numbers on that as we sit here, but I suspect probably someone would come up with a way to do it. I mean, it is a really powerful bonus, as we've seen, which is why everybody uses it. So doubling it probably would make it that much better, even if the item was completely empty.
It's tough because most of the 6-piece sets are completely overlapping, so you still couldn't do it, because they're in the same 6 slots. But I mean, there are a few, Sun Wukos and some other sets where there's 4-piece bonuses. If you could get all the 4-piece bonuses from 2 pieces, somehow you get like 5 different 4-piece bonuses going at once, that would be insane, but I don't think that's possible. Unless you're using crafted sets, and those aren't really offensive bonuses,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing about the RoRG is that what you're basically doing is you're freeing up a legendary ability, a legendary affix. I mean, people aren't putting a RoRG on so that they can get higher stats in another item. They're doing it so that they can get at a specific bonus from a particular legendary, say the, like I said, the new pants for Barb that let you get every effect on your Wrath of Berserker. So basically adding a second one of those, people are just going to be swapping them out and allowing you to do 2 additional legendary affixes.
Which is fun.
Yeah, that might not be bad, but again, I think, the item was broken to begin with. Let's not go making it worse.
We'll have some vicious debates about this. As I said, there's like 50 comments on this post just from today, and it's a weekend, so everyone's got different ideas for how it should be fixed or changed. It seems like the Blizzard's not going to do anything major with it. They're just going to make it a little easier to find. Probably put it in the multiple caches, so it's in the bonus caches as well.
Yeah, I think.
But I mean, even then, you end up running forever if you can finally get one that rolls with CC, CD, or a socket. So
I don't think Blizzard's MO right now with D3 is to ever nerf or remove items. They tend to try to add in new stuff that can compete, but I'm not sure how they're going to do that with something like this. It's such a specific bonus.
There's a bunch of new rings too in the pad. On the PTR, there's a bunch of new legendary rings. Obviously, the BlizzCon one, and there's one that zaps lightning bolts back and forth between the user. So everyone's thinking about that, putting that on their merc kind of thing. And there's that one ring that gives the Barbarian a huge bonus to whirlwind damage. And it's just there's so many good rings. It's really tough. I was playing Demon Hunter a bunch, and of course Natalia's set has a ring in it, and I was having to use that. I'm trying to use Natalia's and get 2 pieces of Marauders as well, and the only way you could do that was to use the ring and the weapon in Natalia's.
Well,
and it's like, well, now I've only got 1 ring I can use, and if I'm doing, and of course I had to use a RoRG to get that pretty much. So
well, there's also Focus and Restraint too, which is
good luck with that.
The 2-ring set, and if you want,
and it's been buffed.
Right, if you want that to work, you have to compromise your Ring of Royal Grandeur.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good bonus. I guess it depends on your sets and what you can value losing too.
People have been using it with the Immortal King set, and it looks like it might be really, really potent. So maybe we'll see those get some use, and people will start shifting off the the RoRG, but I doubt it.
Yeah, the new Focus and Restraint, I have really good ones sitting in my stash. I haven't used them yet. I got ones that roll. I think they're both Ancients, and they both are going to be quadfectas once I enchant them. They have CC, CD, and a socket available, and something else. So, they're not going to be a loss on DPS, but I think the bonus, it's 150% damage bonus if you have full resource, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then it scales downward depending on the amount of resource you have left.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you need a build that has really big attacks, big damage spenders, or I guess maybe not even spenders, but big damage something, but you can also keep full of resource, which is very much not a demon hunter. So that's what I've mostly been playing and haven't, because you're always out of resource there,
Yeah, or a wizard for the most part. Yeah, that's why it works so well, like I said, with the new Immortal Kings, because most of your damage is coming out of just being in Wrath and having your Call of the Ancients up, and you can pretty much sit at top resource the whole time as you do that, which puts out crazy numbers.
Ironically, you could use that with... I'm going to talk about the Demon Hunter set. We're recording a part 2 of this podcast with Wolfpack and Mokai after this, and we're going to talk about I'll talk about the Demon Hunter stuff then. But part of the new bonus with the new Demon Hunter set, which I still don't know the name of, even though I've used it for 4 days, it's the multi-shot set. When you have the 6-piece bonus enabled, it gives you a 10% damage buff for every point of discipline to all of your generators and multi-shot. It's very arbitrary. It's not all of your other spinners. It's just multi-shot. But I was just fooling around with that and noticed using it, and because I had 72, I think, dexterity or discipline, so I'm getting 800% damage buff basically with my generators. I was doing 50 million crits with my basic, just with Evasive Fire, which is just your basic gain 6 hatred for using this skill. And ordinarily you're getting like 8 and 10 million crits with that, whereas you're getting 150 million with your spinners. And so I'm like, actually, if you were using Focus and Restraint with this, and it's adding, you could literally play just with your generators, most of the time, and then just occasionally clip off 1 multi-shot or 2 multi-shots while keeping mostly full. So, I hadn't even tried using that yet, because I was having to use of course, having to use Natalia's ring to get that set going anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant. But I think if there's a gigantic bonus for being full of resource, people might start finding builds they would never ever use otherwise, which I guess is kind of the whole point, right?
Yeah.
True.
I do think, and part of my shift to the PTR has been this kind of debate in terms of gearing. They're doing a pretty good job of integrating these tough decisions now with the amount of gear that's out there. The fact that we can have this discussion about the Ring of Royal Grandeur with Focus, Restraint, and the myriad of other rings that are out there in tandem with the other sets is kind of fun. You don't feel as locked in to the most effective build, or for a wizard, it's not going to be just Firebirds anymore. For a barbarian, it's not going to just be Raekors. Like, you can start mixing it up a little bit and finding things that are going to work for you. And eventually, obviously, we will. Somebody out there is going to find the one that's going to work. That's going to be the most effective. But at the moment, it's just kind of refreshing to be able to actually be more concerned about gear and to kind of theory craft a little bit more, because there are more possibilities out there.
Well, this being Diablo 3, won't there ultimately be one build that's 0.7% better damage, and therefore everyone does it?
True, but
it's cookie cutter land whenever you get to the highest level of stuff, right?
Absolutely, but at the same time, at least you won't feel completely ineffective by comparison, where that 0.75 isn't, the top 1%, and everybody else is doing, 200% less damage or something like that back by comparison, because they just can't get the gear to work, or they can't get, everything else in sync. It does seem to be a little bit more open and, I guess, just a little bit better. Yeah.
Here's the devil's advocate angle, though. What happens if we end up with a situation where people have found out a build, say for, most of the classes, maybe even all of them, where Focus and Restraint just ends up being the best collection of rings you can get? Then, the situation's even worse, because, they may have replaced the RoRG, but now you have 2 slots that you have to fill with these 2 items and these 2 items only, and there are no rings that you can use that are any good other than those.
And then you'll want the RoRG as a level 70 passive. Of course, that wouldn't help you with Focus Restraint. You still need 2. What if the new character in the next expansion has 3 arms?
Or maybe they can
that could really change things up.
They could just put rings on each finger. Let's have 10 ring slots.
They think they can't, they have giant paddle-like fingers, like old Nintendo games. They don't have individual articulation. I think there's some lore in the Diablo 2 lore book about how rings are so powerful. They have like a local field generator that you can't put two in the same hand, or they like interfere with each other and blow up your fingers.
Yeah, don't cross the ring streams.
Yeah, basically. So they're so powerful. So I guess if you put two hands on the same sword, then it also happens, and your hands blow up then too. But
what about
we'll just overlook that part.
Are those far enough apart?
Yeah, that's a little kinky. There's no sex in Diablo 3, so you can't have toe rings. So do you guys have any final thoughts? We're getting a part 2 of the podcast here, so we're shipping you off a little earlier than usual. So are you still playing? You said you're done with Season 3, Season 2, Xanth. Are you serious with that? Or because I enjoyed the PTR, and I played some, but I played a lot of PTR in the last session of it. And you kind of get sick of that ridiculous drop rate after a while, where it's like you just legendaries just feel like candy, and you're like you don't have any value to any of them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I've been leaving a lot of stars on the map as of late because I'm just seeking out certain things to kind of test and play with.
Pretty soon I just picked up jewelry, weapons, and green stuff.
Right, and that's kind of been my MO at the moment. I will probably go back to Season 2. I was definitely having a lot of fun with it. The journey 1 to 70 on a new character that I haven't played in years, really, has been a lot of fun, and it's actually really opened me up to the wizard class, which is something I had basically ignored for a long time. So that's been fun, but I really kind of want to get my feet on the ground for when this patch does go live, and I want to play around with it as much as possible. And if the PTR goes all the way until the next season, I'm probably going to stick with it. And this kind of happened to me last time too, with the last PTR, where I was fully immersed in it for a long time, and it was really tough to go back to live because you do like all the new stuff that you're playing with, and then you go back and it's like this would be so much better if this tile set was operating the way I like it, or if I was able to put together that slow time set. And that's the danger of seasons, is because they are ending. You're just kind of waiting it out in some regards, because what that next season's going to bring, or unlike last season, which was 20 months long, but you do know that the window's going to end, and then you're going to be where you want to be, and I think that's hard. So if the PTR stays up, I'm gonna stick with it more than likely.
Yeah, I like that journey 1 to 70, which involved 18 minutes of sitting in someone else's riff with a Gem of Ease on your weapon, right?
Well,
it was exhausting.
I do think the first night when Season 2 started, and you have all these games open, and you're just jumping into public games, and nobody has an advantage, you're just leveling together, you're seeing people die left and right. That's really the best experience. And then it just gets it gets really kind of sad after you hit 70 for about a week, and then it's nothing but people getting rushed. Like, if you try and level legitly and try and find those games where people are actually leveling and doing bounties together, they don't exist. If you're level 40 right now on live and you're trying to join a game, there'll be maybe one or two. Because I took the season started, I got maybe to level 40 on that first night, had to go out of town for that weekend, jump back on Monday, and then there was literally no games for me at level 40 in public hardcore from, from normal through expert, nothing. And I just had to kind of go solo, and that's kind of upsetting, just because everybody had hit the cap, and then they weren't high enough to rush people, and nobody else was trying to level.
Well, if only you were in a clan that you could play with other people, and you could always find games available. Maybe you should look into joining one of those someday.
Yeah, I may actually be a leader of one, but I didn't want to slow anybody else down within the clan, and especially if being the leader, be like, hey, somebody needs to help me level. That's kind of a shitty thing to do.
You can give them clan bonus points, though. Oh wait, we have nothing like that.
Make their banner.
Speaking of clan, I did a GR40 today with my solo Demon Hunter hardcore. First one in our clan. Are there any 40s in the Ink Gamers North yet? Or have I proved my natural superiority once and for all?
You may have proven your superiority, but you are playing a demon hunter, right?
Currently, yes. Very squishy.
Doesn't
but,
count.
Well, Katniss did a 41 a couple weeks ago with a Crusader. He was, not a couple weeks ago, like last weekend. He played more hours the first weekend than I've played the entire season, I think. So that doesn't entirely count. But he's not in our clan. He's in a different clan. But he's been on the podcast many times, so he kind of counts. But I was happy to get the first 40. It was kind of scary. I got a Saxtress for the boss.
Okay.
And he can very easily. I'm going to cast 14 squiggly things right on top of you from half a screen away. Hey, you're dead.
Yeesh. Yeah, I was able to. I finally made it up to like 30 on the wizard, and it's still not greatly geared, but I'm running Firebirds as basically, it's the best thing I've got right now, and I had a lot of close calls, but it was exciting to actually kind of make it that far.
Oh, all the way to 30, huh?
Yeah,
that's almost T8, man. Getting up there. So, any final thoughts for you, Tier?
Just a couple things on the kind of cosmetic stuff that they added. I don't know what you guys think. What do you think of the orbs happening in normal rifts? I think they're kind of an odd addition.
I like it, and I wish they kept appearing forever.
I mean, they're kind of fun, but at the same time, isn't that just progress you would have had if you automatically killed them up? They would have showed up.
They're 1% apiece as far as I know. So I mean, it adds up. You probably find 30 or 40 of those in the course. It's really quick rifts.
Yeah, that's true.
I just always wanted something. I miss those when I'm playing normal rifts after playing a bunch of greater rifts.
Yeah.
Because so often in a crowded screen, you can't even tell the boss has died or not. They're just the boss was over to the left somewhere, and I'm shooting missiles everywhere, and there's like 100 enemies. I'm like, is he dead? Like you see a couple of yellow items, and you're like, did he go off the edge of the screen? You're looking around. I like having a purple there just to let me know.
Those are nice.
With the auto close feature now on regular rifts, how does that work in a party? Does it automatically kick everybody out, or does it wait?
Well, Ursi on greater rifts vanishes once you've done the bonus up with her. But I've played. I haven't played any solo. I don't know what happens and what's different about autoclose.
So, like in a regular,
all the rifts are like 3 levels deep now, so you run out of them pretty quickly in a party anyway. But
yeah, but like in a regular rift, if you do kill the boss and there's still more to go, and I've been doing them mainly solo. You go back to town, talk to what's his name, and it just closes automatically. No more 30-second countdown or anything like that. So
I assume it makes you wait 30 seconds. I've said in multiplayer games it waits 30 seconds still. So they must have just put that in for single player.
Huh. Okay.
Again, Xanth, if you had any friends, you'd know these things.
Well, I'm not.
If only you were in a clan, man.
Not on the PTR.
INC PTR. We have about 80 people there now.
Well.
Because you can't create games. I have yet to be able to create a game on the PTR since like the first hour it went live.
Huh.
I mean, literally, I'll click it, it'll say 3 hours, 20 minutes, and I'll check back half an hour later, and it says 3 hours and 24 minutes.
Yeah, that number never moves.
It actually goes up.
Even when you get a game started, that number never changes. It'll say 35 minutes for me for 15 minutes, and then I'll get a game. That doesn't make any sense.
Mine says 3.5 hours for 3 hours, and then nothing ever happens. But I've been joining games.
Huh, seriously.
But it's tough. As I said, my performance is so bad; it's really hard to play. Plus, you really can't really. I'm used to being able. A kind of Greater Rift solo is where you can kind of test and say, okay, like I was using Nat's set, I'm really enjoying it. It was super powerful with the nonstop Rain of Vengeance. But when you're playing a 3-player game on T6, you really have no ability to judge just how good this is compared to Marauder 6 that you're used to doing in solo games. It's like, well, it's good and things are dying, but I'm not sure if I'm actually making any difference, or if this barbarian who's charging around in this epileptic seizure fashion of this hideous Raekor set they should take out of the game entirely. Wait, did I say that out loud? But yes, I mean, it's hard to compare. But obviously, Xanth's been lucky in playing special alone games. So.
Well, if you are queuing up as hardcore, I do believe it gives you a different server, so that like my wait times, the highest I've seen has been 6 minutes.
Special rules for hardcore.
If you want to test,
hardcore is the superior player, right? I mean, that's how it works, right?
It's been proven.
Well, that's
actually.
my opinion, but I have a greater Rift 40, so obviously it must be true. Okay, guys, we gotta run. Any final thoughts? You're ready for more PTR? You don't care that it's all just a demo and you can copy your characters over again in 1 second? You like the 2,000% drop rate?
Yeah. How can you?
Is it spoiling you for the real game or no?
I don't know. I feel like the oversaturation does make you then when you go to live appreciate them a little bit more in some ways. Like you get so used to them that like you're just tossing them away left and right, but then you go on to live and you're waiting a little bit longer, and all of a sudden you slowly are gearing up. It's almost more enjoyable. I did find in Season 2, though, that I felt like getting sets and even getting my Firebirds and everything did not take me nearly as long as what Season 1 did. So I feel like on live it's in a good version where the 2000% isn't spoiling live for me. It's just nice to have it to quickly get to what I want to test.
It just made me DE things faster, which is kind of nice actually. Ordinarily, I'm hoarding things like a pack rat in my stash, but after that 2000, it's like just DE it. It's ancient, whatever, DE it.
I stopped DEing things because it actually took more time. I would just throw it on the ground or not pick it up at all.
And your stack of 7,000 Forgotten Souls in your stash already, so.
Right.
Okay, guys, thanks for your time. You've been listening to the Diablo 3 podcast. Get some more testing in this week, and we can talk about this some more next week, unless you're already back to Season 2 because you don't care anymore. And in theory, the 2,000% bonus thing won't last forever, so if you want to gear up all your classes, do it now, and then you can, even if you don't have time to play it some. What I actually did, I was playing a Demon Hunter with a other guy in the clan playing a Wizard, and we were playing, in the same game. I think it was on T4, and you just get so much stuff. So we just said, he's like, I'm going to play a Demon Hunter at some point. So I just every Demon Hunter set item I found, Natalia's, Marauders, and the new one, I just tossed it on the ground. When, if I didn't have a better version, if it wasn't an upgrade for me, right?
Right.
And so he had almost all 3 sets after like half an hour of playing. And he was throwing the Wizard set. So I have all 6 of the new Delzerays set, and I probably have all of Inya's as well. Just sitting there. I haven't played a Wizard yet, but I just able to pick them up just effortlessly. So if you party with somebody else, just make this agreement, and you can probably play an hour with 4 people and have every single item set in the game waiting ready to roll in your 8th, 9th, and 10th pages of your stash, I guess.
Right.
I'm not sure we're going to put them all, but anyway, it's fun to do, and PTR is good. If you're apparently the trick, as Xanth said, play hardcore, and there's less of a queue. And if you die, you can just copy yourself back over again. So no biggie, right?
Yeah, no consequence.
Okay, this is the Diablo 3 podcast. Moo.
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 Moo. Moo. Moo.